The independence of the Viceroyalty of Peru. Once upon a time, there was a colony named the Viceroyalty of Peru, which consisted of what is today Peru and Chile. The citizens of Peru lived happily under the control of the Spanish Empire until the 1800s. It was at this time that Peruvians started to question those in power. Peru and Chile are located on the western coast of South America. Peru has three main geographic zones: the Andes Highlands, the desert coast, and the largely unpopulated Peruvian Amazon. These three zones and the presence of the Andes Mountains made it very difficult to enter Peru from the east. For the most part, Peru is only accessible by the north and by boat. This affected where the major battles could occur, how Spanish troops could get to the heart of Peru, and prolong Peruvian independence. The Viceroyalty of Peru was a colony of Spain used to increase the wealth of the empire as a whole. To make up for Spain's decreasing economical status caused by the French invasion, Bourbon reforms were set in place. Economically, these reforms were made to increase production of primary export products in the colonies. In addition, their purpose was to increase royal control in the colonies and limit the power of the criollos. Essentially, stricter rules were placed on the colonies, like restrictions of growing crops that were grown in Spain and trading with foreigners. There was a prominent inequality in social classes in the colonies while fighting for independence. The highest social class consisted of peninsulares, people born in Spain. The next step down consisted of citizens with Spanish descent but born in South America. These people were called criollos. Peninsulares and criollos were both educated, Catholic, and white. The only difference between these two social groups was where they were born. This caused tension in the colonies because the criollos didn't think they'd been treated fairly. Peninsulares and criollos would come from Spain with new ideas and ways of thinking. This exposure to the Enlightenment inspired Peruvians to fight against the injustices they were facing. Peruvians were also inspired by the French, American, and other countries' revolutions and the Enlightenment to break free from the Spanish control. Peru started to seek freedom from Spanish Empire in early 1800s. In 1808, Spain was under French invasion led by Napoleon, who forced the Spanish monarch, King Ferdinand VII, off the throne in replace for his brother Joseph. This sparked rebellion among certain social classes in the Spanish colonies who refused to acknowledge Joseph as their king, and created a power vacuum in Spain, in the Spanish colonies and South America. In effect, the colonies stepped up in an effort to lead themselves. Due to its coastal location and valuable resources, Peru was the stronghold of Spain in South America. It was feared that this location, under Spanish control, would lead the Spanish Empire to try to reconquer its colonies. The independence of Peru was essential to liberating all of Latin America. After the South America colonies gained their independence from Europe, they joined Peru to take down the Spanish. This is another reason why Peru had one of the latest independence movements in South America, because Peruvians alone could not take down the Spanish Empire in present Peru and Chile. The power of Peru in Latin America attracted two visionaries who led the charge to independence. Their names are Simon Bolivar and Jose San Martin. Simon Bolivar was originally Venezuelan and was involved in the independence movements of Venezuela and much of the northern part of South America. After being exiled, he was able to return in the year 1813 and liberate Venezuela, making him a hero to his people. San Martin was an Argentinian general and one of the main forces against liberation of South America. Coming from the south and moving north, he liberated Chile in 1818 after the Battle of Chacabuco. The leader of Chile at the time, Bernardo O'Higgins, greatly assisted in liberating his coastal country. From there, Bernardo proclaimed Chilean independence and ruled the country until 1823. Next, San Martin established a Chilean navy and seized partial control of Lima. Both San Martin and Bolivar had a common goal of liberating Peru. After a secret meeting in Guayaquil, San Martin surrendered his control to Bolivar, who led the Peruvians to independence in 1821. Peru declared its independence on July 28, 1821. They celebrate their independence on July 27th through July 29th. Even after independence was granted, not much changed about the equality of the caste system, and Indians were still viewed as inferior.